before. Hold on. What about now? Testing. 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 I think that will be better. My OBS wasn't tuned. I have not done a live stream for a while, so I don't know if this is better. Alright. Awesome. Sorry about that. I haven't done a live stream, and so I haven't tuned any of this stuff. Plus, I haven't done any Twitch, things like that. I was asking if turn out your mic. Alright. How about there? Testing, testing. I think that will be better. I think. I'm not sure. Alright, awesome. How is everyone? Everyone going good? That's always the way. Well, there's no such thing as perfection. It's just okay. It's good enough. Should be good enough. So, I wanted to discuss the basics of everything and anything, right? Anything you guys want to ask me, feel free. I think for me lately, I probably feel burnt out with everything. Hey, Andrea. It's good to see you here. How did everyone get my notification? There's a few of you guys here. It's nice to see. Everyone showed up pretty quick. I wonder how everyone got the notification. It's like it would take a while. I think that's one thing that came to me. I never chilled out and sat on YouTube, so I thought I'd be doing that tonight. I was like, damn it, I'm just gonna do it. You got it on your phone. That's pretty cool. Okay. I guess that's handy. It's good. It's good to see, I guess people enjoy whatever I talk about. I always think whatever I talk about is a bit weird, so it's good to see people have some sort of use from it. So I don't know, lately I've been trying to just take it easy with work, and I think towards the end of the year I'm feeling pretty burnt out. I need to get time off and you go a bit, I don't know, just you need that break, refresh your views on things, what you want to do next year. I'm trying to change it up for work and do something a bit different. So, what's everyone doing for the new year? They plan on leaving work, going to a new job. That's good. It's good to know. I want to do more of them. They're fun to do. It's nice to get people up to a high quality for producing work, and I think it's when you can provide that as a mentor, it feels really rewarding. So yeah. At the moment, I am thinking about how to change up my artwork. Keep it similar, but change it. Not always do the same thing, but kind of expand on that. The act of doing the same thing again and again is kind of insane, so. When you're burnt out, you have a lot of goals. So what I did today is I kind of just went. I had too many things going in my mind, and I went, too many. What am I doing? Too much. And I just went, stuff it. I'm gonna simplify it, and I just went. I don't care anymore. I'm going to do just 2 goals. Just make new work and client work. Simple. And then all the other stuff on the side is just kind of a management of, YouTube is not really a goal for me. It's just to kind of exercise a bit of exposure, and everything else is just that. Because I think you can get too many goals and you'll feel overwhelmed, and that will burn you out. But if you've got burnout, you definitely want to think about maybe your goals are too big too, but you also want to take that break a lot of times you realize you've probably you can bite off too much, and then maybe you can slowly ramp those things up again. Because a burnout is a weird thing where you do need a lot of goals. You could probably bite off more than you can chew. But if you feel really overwhelmed, you just need to shrink it and then enlarge it gradually. Like picking up a weight. I think we can all get really, really carried away. What did I want to learn? I wanted to absorb his shape language. Essentially take on what it's like to think like Brian, right? Because if you think about it, he has got a very cool shape language, and I thought if I could think a bit like him, and so I studied it, and it was pretty cool. So it was fun. I actually enjoyed doing it, which I thought I'd hate doing it. I'd hate kind of like making other people's work, but I think it was because it was a good experiment, and I had a little bit of freedom there. So, and it tests you because you have to kind of keep it consistent with doing the you're essentially copying, but getting your little bit of thing in there too. So when I worked at Gorilla, I don't know anything about the character art team. I would say they're pretty damn good. You'd want to probably be making some really cool it's pretty competitive at the moment. So I would spend, so if you need to like do some studies, nice renders between the studies, and then do some really 1 or 2 killer portfolio pieces in between the studies, and then maybe another 2 if you before applying, to show that you've got some range, because you need to prove yourself. But yeah, the studies, if you've got already a lot of cool character art, really really good character art, it's pretty competitive. But I wouldn't aim for one company. I would aim for all companies, actually. Just anything. Just aim for anything and see what lands. Don't aim for one company. It's ridiculous, actually. That means you only have one job in the entire world. Doesn't make any sense. You want a freelance design, but it's something that I'd be interested in. Do you think? I think any studio is worth going to, because you'll learn something at the studio. It depends how long you want to be there, right? So, I mean, if you got a really cool studio job where you're being paid decent or well, and you enjoy it, just stay there. But if you don't enjoy it, like if you don't enjoy the commute to work, the people that you work with, just go. And if you could actually score a remote studio job, that would be even better, because of times like this. But it's also good, to go into the studio, because you just learn stuff, the energy from other people. Like, it's really hard to work from home. I always struggle to like motivate myself, being a self-employed, so it's really tricky. Depends what you do. There's pros and cons. You got a lot of freedom, but you end up working all the time too. In a studio job, you get to go home, switch off, recharge in the afternoon. You don't recharge in the afternoon when you work from home, unless you really. I'm gonna reward myself for like, I don't know, an hour in the afternoon before bed. So because you end up just kind of working until you go to sleep. So I think you gotta think about what you want, and it might get you into another country. I've always thought about maybe taking on another studio job just to change up the type of pace that I've had, because I've freelanced for a while. Maybe I think about it off and on. It would be cool to be around people again, that's for sure. Well, the thing is, sometimes a client might want a masterpiece in their project. It really depends. But I would explain to the client that, well, you can't do that. That would take, 2 months, right? So, I mean, you could spend 3 months on something. And look, the client would be stupid to expect it in a month. Like you get a character done in a month. And so you got to think about it. It's not, just don't say yes to something that just because a client's come to you, don't say yes to it. Just go be realistic. But you might be able to get it done quicker too, given the dead kind of that, if they push a deadline onto you, usually your personal work kind of slips with deadlines because you're like, oh well, it's for myself. So you tend to take a bit longer with these things. Yeah, it's true. You get a cushion when you're on freelance. It's you're always gonna lose either way though. Freelance, you're not gonna have constant work, so it doesn't work. So there's always pros and cons. Like, I can see why some people change studio jobs. Finishing the projects. Thanks for the compliment, by the way. So, get lost in the designing and the refining process for too long. Yeah, that's pretty easy. I would practice. I'd practice doing quick pieces to get that little urge for refining. Kind of in order to show that you can commit to things and you can move forward. So essentially, like I did a real quick thing today. I think I spent maybe 2 hours on it, and 2 hours and a little bit, and I was just like, I just want to do something. I want to exercise the muscle of design, and I want to commit. Like, I'm tired of committing and being something so epic with something and just want to do it, right? So, but then you have the flip side, you can get stuck into it. My brain's like, oh, maybe I can make this into something really cool, right? Like, I want to, and then my brain's like going, oh, if I did this and did that. But the way I started it, I just went, nah, I'm not going to do that. But to answer the question, you can go in and just commit. Just go, okay, this is not perfect. I need to leave it here. If I go further with it, I'll probably go a little bit like cuckoo, and I know I'm just kind of like, as if I'm sitting at a light switch, switching the light switch off and on, and only getting like just a little bit of improvement. I don't know, because I always equal the OCD tendencies that you can have for work, and you just keep tweaking it, and it's a bit better. Like, if I was to quantify, a lot of the times I was, changing and improving, I'd say I could add maybe 15 to 30%, but all those things add up, right? But a lot of times, if you didn't do it, you'd probably you might save a week if you had a really big project, like really big. So like, there's a time and place to do it, and sometimes when you can just commit and fail, just fail. Just go and feel that crappy feeling of failure, and then it will like sting. And you're like, I'm not going to do that next time, right? I'm not going to spend so long on that thing next time. Just like, try not to give a crap. Art is one of those things that no one else is going to care as much as you care too. But you can definitely like care a lot, and it can be amazing. But I would pick your battles. I would be questioning before you go in, what do you want to get from the art piece? Yeah. Do you want it to be a absolute portfolio killer? Then if it is a portfolio killer, you have to kill yourself in the process by like putting so much work into it. And then you go, well, where's my level of sanity right now? If your level of sanity is like being pushed with other stuff, and it's like right up here, don't attempt it, because it will push you over the edge and you're not ready for it. If you're like really calm and collected and you're ready to like grind up and grind up and grind up and grind up and grind and hit that ceiling of like redoing things and getting them perfect, which is no such thing, you can then get to that point. So essentially, before taking those big projects where you think, I want to do a really good job, maybe take a week off, 2 weeks off, just like clear everything for a bit, because you need to like mentally prepare for that. You need to get ready for like sitting at that computer, doing things again and again, re-rendering, readjusting, fixing details and all that wonderful stuff. And then you will have the sanity to do it and to go through that process, and then be like, well, am I spending too long on it? Maybe you're not, because you want to spend too long on it. That's another thing too. People will often lie about how long they spend on something. So we have a big disillusion of ArtStation, people saying, yeah, I only spent this long on it. No, it's all bullcrap. It's like, it's not true. I guarantee they've spent like a week or two longer, or even 3 weeks longer on a lot of these things, because everyone's trying to compete for time and money. So then everyone then undercuts themselves, just like the VFX industry. So everyone's just screwing themselves over. And so you got to stop doing that crap, because you're just going to grind yourself into the ground. So, but yeah, to answer the question, get to it. Pick your battles, because you want to like, you can refine and make things, you can make things better, and all the percentages will add up. So, but don't do it when you're not in that mindset to do it. You'll just end up hurting yourself, because your brain needs a rest. So comfort zone and define your strengths versus evolve yourself. Comfort zone and to define your strengths, and the versus to evolve yourself. So you're talking about, well, you can sit and do a sketch, like you could sit and do a drawing, like in ZBrush or something like that, or just on pen. Nothing's refined. That's a comfort zone. Or you could try and create a new design style, which will kind of push you into like a questioning of like, do I like to do this? Is this my style? And so you're not in a comfort area, which is crossed with a slight evolution. So, I mean, I did that today with a design. I just went, I'm not going to care. I'm going to do something a little bit opposite to what I've done. It was kind of a slightly uncomfortable and evolving shape language, which I was going against habits that I formed. So then I can hopefully cross those to other modeling techniques and visual language. My visual language will, even if it's in ZBrush, I can then maybe use it in Sub D or CAD, or just drawing by hand. And I can, all these skills kind of transfer a little bit, just a tiny bit. When is it taking too long? I don't know. You can't really say when something's taking too long. I think if you spent longer than 6 months on one project, I think definitely taking too long. If it's an art piece, I mean, you could spend 4 months on something to get it really nice, but you better hope that would break the internet. Like 4 or 5 months, you got to break the internet with that work, and it has to, like, people have to talk about it years later too. If no one's talking about your work years later and you spent 4 or 5 months on it, you failed. So you want to break the internet with your work. So I've done it a few times where I've like spent a long time on a project because I want to execute and understanding for a design limitation where I want to see where I can break myself, and then I can break the tools. In the sense, where can I reach, get stretched? Like, so say with the Dynamesh stuff, I would push, and then I've like expanded it, and then I've reached the absolute, I don't know, epitome of doing Dynamesh detailing. I'm like, okay, then I'll pull it back into like a more reasonable scope. But I can always push it there, but I won't push it this far. I'll push it here. And then I can deliver that to clients in a sane way. Even though it's really difficult, because it's all difficult. But now I'm going to work on a bunch of different techniques where I'm going to push, like you stretch different techniques to the point where they're most limiting factor. So, say working with sub D, you get limited, but then how can you leverage it at the start with Dynamesh and Zero Measure? So that's something I experimented with, the Cock My Gun one, and that was a really good experiment. And that was kind of like in a range where it wasn't too difficult. I got to leverage all these little things. So you're right, it's hard to say. Focus sometimes. I look at people who's making the indie games. Can't understand how they can stay productive and motivated. I think you just don't see all them actually not being productive and motivated. What you see is the perception of them posting all the time. So you think, oh, they're always motivated. No one's always motivated. It's just it's something that you have to realize. Like, you could take a day off or 2 days off and come back more motivated and get more work done, right? Or just take it easy for a couple of days. Like, literally, like, do the opposite of your work. Don't do work. Do something that will aid you in another area of your life. Don't pay attention to work for a bit in the same way. Maybe turn the work back into a hobby for a little bit and see if you can recharge, and then you come back. And I think a lot of times you think people are way more productive than they are, but they do struggle with being productive. It's not like we're monkeys at the end of the day. You're a chimp and you're trying to be productive. It's not in your nature to be productive. You're not a robot. So, and creativity comes from not being super strict. When you're super strict, there's no creativity. It's like, when are you going to have those aha moments in the shower, or when you're walking, or when you're just sitting down, or even me just sitting down and not really doing anything right now? Like, when are you going to get an aha moment? I could be doing some scribbles and like, oh, that's a cool idea. But you're not going to get that sitting and working. You might get certain tool techniques and workflows from working, because you need to apply yourself to see what's happening with your workflow, so you figure things out. But you don't get those brilliant moments sitting and working. A lot of times you get them in like those other moments. So that's a bit of a tangent. I'm a tangent guy. I'm fairly certain it's sheer passion mixed with some madness of pinch or of disillusion. At least that's how it was for me. Hey Black, what's going on? Life is disillusion. We all want things too much. We all aim way too high. But you have to aim high, otherwise you don't really go anywhere. Well, you can go somewhere, but I think we all want too much, and then we think it's going to solve our problems. Like, you should be happy actually just being like slightly unhappy. You should be happy being slightly unhappy and anxious. That's where you should be happy, because that's where you grow. Uncomfortable. You should be uncomfortable, because once you get everything, you're unhappy. So in how many months you were developed as a concept artist and were hired. I mean, you could get hired maybe, if you have a good year, you get hired 10 months of the year. Let's see, why not? You could get a chock-a-block schedule, but like sometimes you don't get nothing for a bit, and then boom. Always in the new year for me, like it's quiet for me now, and then the new year will hit. Everyone will like dump me with stuff, and I'm just like, ugh, I can't even take it. This is like, I'm hoping I don't get dumped. I hope it just gradually increases, so I'm not overwhelmed all of a sudden. Hey Hubert. That's good. It's good to know. I thought maybe they're getting personals, because I just, for the getting personals, like, I don't know, people tell me I have one friend who tells me I should script it. I should write a script and go off by that, and I'm just like, how much do I have to put into YouTube, then my actual work, and then everything else? I'm just like, my attention will be so divided. I question, is it better just for me to say what's on top of my head, and hopefully what I'm kind of thinking at the time will come out in a way where it will help? And I know a lot of people sit and they script their whole YouTube channel. Everything gets scripted, and they're like perfecting their whole YouTube and doing all this stuff, and I don't know. I just question if it's really, really worth it. I don't know. You look at a lot of podcasts. You look at like Joe Rogan's show, and like if you scripted everything, god damn, you'd never get anything done. Like to just other stuff in your life. Like, I'm not here to be a YouTube star. I'm here just to help and use YouTube as a funnel. I'm not under the disillusion that YouTube is going to make me money at all. So I might make it. I think I've made, I don't know, like $10 from YouTube. I guess it's better than nothing. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe podcasts will take off, and I'll be the Joe Rogan of the art world. How do you feel for 2020 on your work? I feel alright. I didn't feel like I got enough work done. I was a little bit unproductive with getting personal work. I think I put too much time into trying too many little different things, where in the new year I just want to focus on making work, and then working with others, and then doing mentorships and things like that. Like I want to teach a lot more. I think I want to really get into that a lot more and kind of spread myself there. Yeah, I think work-wise, it's alright. I was pretty much, I didn't have the best year, so I went through a lot of personal stuff within the year, so it kind of was very distracting, which is all clearing up slowly. 2020 was rubbish though, let's be honest. 2020 was rubbish. Oh, the design Bible. Oh, I missed the question. Getting personals are the only videos artists in the digital. Yeah, there's another channel that what's his name? God damn, I can't remember his name. He's got a pretty cool YouTube channel. He sits and talks while he has a drawing going. I can't remember his name, but yeah. I'm not sure what to do for a design Bible, to be honest. I think a design Bible is like, it's above my head at the moment. I wouldn't know how to translate everything I know. I know it, but it's translating it into understandable language for other people. So it's hard to really figure out how to do a design Bible. I mean, I could do like it's almost like an anatomy thing where you draw anatomy and you're like, here's the deltoid, and you're like here and here. I was thinking of doing a character tutorial, so that it would show the character, but then like a character can have so many different things, like a different helmet, a different shape, parts, like saying what flow language will work here, what to look for. Like it can be very much a lot of different things, and I actually don't know how I would approach it. Like I was thinking of approaching it in very like blocky line guides to show just line language and then leave detailing out of it, which would make it for me, it would make it easier way to do the Bible, and I wouldn't have to get stuck on like having to polish things and do things. So I might be more inclined to do it. But I don't know how to explain the language to use in it, unless it's just going to be all pictures. So, well, there's one person that would buy it, but it's still doing something like that. You don't want to do it and then no one buys it. I'm better off just doing personal work, to be honest. Would I consider working at a place like that? Yeah, I'd consider it. I never worked there, but I'd consider working for them again. They're definitely pushing the boundaries of things. Setting a new standard in games. I don't know if the new standard in games is just the new movie quality of CGI. I think we've been exposed to CGI and we're pretty much used to like what it is. I mean, like looking at Cyberpunk, I'm like, alright, it's cool. But like you've seen it, right? Because you've seen it in a CGI movie. In CGI, like we're exposed to it. There's no like that wow factor anymore. Because you get exposed to it all the time. I think we're on a plateau for like quality. It's just kind of gonna be like this, a very gradual, because we're at like a peak now. So we went whoop, and we're like, cool, awesome, yes, I love it. It's just there now. Like there's no, it's hard to keep going up and up and up. It's like, it's going to be really gradual now, I think. Gradual grind up to the point where like, oh, is that CG or not? But that's going to be ages away though. It's going to be gradual. I think because the polygon count's gotten so high. But we've probably got one more bump, like there, and then because we're close to matching CGI, like in games where the enough poly count you can't really tell there's square polygons on the ear anymore or something like that. That's the holy grail, right? Not seeing square polygons on the ear, because that's like you need so many polygons to make an ear round. Is the mentorship video uploaded only on tier 2 and above? Yes, I think so. So on the $10 tier. So if you want that, it'll be on $10 tier and up on Patreon. How much do you work a day? I try to write down 3 to 4 hours. Yeah, I try and do full work anyway. I'm probably working 5 to 6. And then the rest of it's on like little miscellaneous things. Like YouTube, posting, getting back to people, social media. It's really hard to clock in like a solid. I mean, I've got my timer. I use this thing. So I just like do an hour and then so you try and do an hour there, hour here, and you clock it in. So if you just set it to like 7 hours, you could do that. Like you can manage, but you gotta be really strict. Like you really gotta be strict, and then you just pause it. That's what I tend to do. So for clients, I'll give myself 8 hours a day, and then I'll just like pause it and keep track of the work. And then a lot of times I might roll over 1 hour because I can getting 7 hours of work solid in a day is like pretty tough. But that's work. That's you doing a thing. Like you have so many bits of crap in your day, you're wasting time. Like people we're pretty like bad with like, I would say it's not even bad, but if you can get solid 7 hours of work, it's pretty good. 7 to 8 hours. You get more than that, you're probably like if you do 10 and 12 like solid, you're probably not doing anything else much, which is fine. I mean, yeah, it's like people do it, but you got to question how much is like money worth it at the end of the day to sit and do a solid 12 hours and you don't go to the gym, you don't eat much in your day. You could sleep less. You could sleep for 4 or 5 hours, but then I don't know. You got to question it. It's like you can probably get 10, 12, and I don't know. I really don't believe it when people say they do 12 hours solid a day. I don't know. I don't believe it because your focus just goes off. Like it's not there. Like you got to be taking Ritalin or something to do it, and then that will burn you out long term. So I do remember when I was doing Twitch, I did like 10-hour streams, 10, 12-hour streams, but they weren't solid. That was me like going off and taking breaks in between. So if you really were to like calculate breaks, it's like 2-3 hours for breaks. So I've had this one for years. It's called Multi-Timer. You could probably look for it. It's called Multi-Timer. I have not bothered to download anything new because I just never thought. There's probably better ones actually on the market, but it's a free one. I'm trying to open it again. Come on, where are you? I have too many things open. I don't know if I can find. Yeah, it's called Multi-Timer. But here you go. That's where you can get it from. 2000. I've had it for a while. I think that's a guy who made it. No. What's your message, Mortiz? I'm using 3D to create concepts, but I'm wondering maybe I should start to learn how to make 3D models for games since there's not many jobs in the concept art in general, at least for me. I think there's jobs in everything these days because there's someone that needs to design and someone that needs to make it. I wouldn't say there is a limited amount of jobs in the game industry. I think there's a lot of jobs going around. Depends what you want to do. Like you can take strategic choices in what you want to do, but you can also be kind of like, what do you really want to do, right? Got to question it. Like, at the end of the day, what do you want to get from your work, right? Do you just want to like gradually kind of like be happy with what you're doing and just like do concept designs and get a little bit of work here and there and just kind of slowly build up? Or do you just want to like put yourself into the game industry, start working, getting money, and you kind of don't care about like, I don't know, just achieving a greater level of just game design? So in the sense that you're just going to be doing a bit of, let's be honest, like if you're going to do low poly work all the time and baking down high poly work, it's a little bit monkey-like to do, but some people enjoy it. So it's really up to you. If you enjoy doing that boredom stuff, like of low poly baking, just, I don't know, just be, go to a game company. But then inside of a game company, you could pivot, it's a way better pivoting inside a game company than pivoting on your own dime. God damn, it's more stressful. because you're taking on risk. Like within the game company, if you pivot and go, hey, look, I want to do another thing, it's on their dime, right? But it's kind of on your dime too. But you might have to take a pay cut, or you just, you will get put on a different type of project you might not enjoy, so you have to like suck it up. It's really up to you what you want to get from it. How you deal with loneliness and socializing while working from home? It's a tough one. How do you deal with it? You have good social circles. You hang out with friends online at times. So you can pretty much, I don't know, sometimes I just sit on an hour or two while I'm working, a bit of sculpting, or just that automatic autopilot mode. Can't do it all the time. And I just have a chat with someone, and that can get me through. So at the moment I live alone, and so what I thought is I'd get a housemate at some point to alleviate the loneliness feeling, because I thought I could actually live alone and be kind of like a little bit more content with that, but nah, it's a little bit lonely. So if you don't have a housemate, and I'm not dating anyone at the moment, plus no one's like, it's kind of like when if you can have a good friend, and so that's what you're wanting, that will help so much. So if you don't have a partner, it's a bit tough. But sometimes if you have a partner and they work from home, since they're your partner, they'll drive you nuts. So you gotta try and make a good choice in what you want to do. If your partner goes to work, that's perfect. But if they work from home, it will drive you nuts, because you see each other all the time. You never get a break. Just be wary of that. How do you manage personal work? I experimented with that, of trying the whole personal with part-time on my own work. I would advise to so if you had a contract with a company, just say you're going to do like 3 or 4 days, and then have your own work, just the whole day do your own personal work. Because what happens is you get the whole task switching crap, where your brain has to like, okay, I'm switching over to this. Or if you're really tired of doing the client work, and then you can do your personal work, do that. But you have that, there's a problem with task switching. I can't remember the word, there's an actual word for it, where your brain has to switch over, and it's actually way harder than you think to do those things. So, because you're switching tasks, like I'm going to work on a robot, now I'm going to do an organic character. Like it kind of messes with your head a bit. So, and it's completely different style to anything else. So I would delegate, push some 3 or 4 days and for a client, and then your personal stuff on the other days there. So see how you go with that. But there's no hard rule on anything. Using Blender at level, I can get to advanced level, but you see, oh, you want to use Blender? You could use Blender and cross those things off. None of the industry level courses are Blender. Now the question is, should I learn 3ds Max or not? What should I do? Look, I would you kind of need Max, but you kind of need Max for some things. I would say you don't need it. Blender has everything you've got that Max has, maybe plus some. But pros and cons to every program. I would just use Blender and then cross, like use the kind of cross-platform. Like, well, poly modeling is going to be the same, texturing is going to be pretty similar. Rendering is going to be pretty similar. The only thing you don't have is like a modifier stack to do modeling, but Blender kind of has a modifier stack. So, look, poly modeling and stuff's all pretty similar. Like the sub D poly modeling, like it hasn't changed for like 20 years. You might have like with Blender, you got the mesh insert stuff with what's the tool? I forgot the name of it now. It's pretty late here, but it's got we can do inserts, decal machine, and the other one, box cutter. So, but those ones are like, I don't know, like box cutter seems very similar to just CAD. So then you're like, well, I'll use CAD. I don't know, like it really depends. Like there's no like one program. Just use Blender because it's free. Don't pay for Max. You gotta pay like how much? Like it's like $200 a month or something like that. You're a poor student. You can't afford that. You could be a rich student. Who knows? The Motivate clock. I should try that out. I'll write a note. Probably need another clock. It would be good if, you know, should get a clock that like, I don't know, lets you eat candy or something once you reach 2 hours. It dishes out some candy. Here you go. You got some candy. Eat it. Get back to work for another 2 hours and get some more candy. Maybe it could just give you like this like proper drug to keep you going and working instead. So you want to transfer your information from Max as well. 3ds Max or Maya to Blender. You can do it. It's polymodeling, UV mapping. Like Blender's pretty great. I just don't use it because I just don't see the benefit of using it when you can use other stuff, but I kind of see the benefit and don't. It's always in the middle of the road, Blender. It's in the middle of the road. Everyone uses it and Blender's kind of cool, but it's like, it's just not a production app. Like it's not like production. It's like you wouldn't want to like make a high-end thing inside of a Blender, like for a movie or something like that. For some reason, movies still don't do it. I don't know. I think I could be wrong, but you could make a probably high-end piece in it, but maybe not for a movie. But you could. I think it's just catching on. I think it's just that. It's just like, hey, you just don't realize you can yet, but you can maybe. It's just, I guess, Autodesk have such a, large marketplace that it'll take a while for Blender to kind of seep in there and show the big guys how to do it. Yeah, that's a good idea to get someone in similar interests. I have a mate with similar interests. So we could like sit there and talk nerdy about art. And he does bodybuilding too, so I'm like, there we go. Maybe that will be a sufficient thing to satisfy the interests of kind of spurring each other on, because it's like an office environment almost, which is like, you don't want to be like too much into work because you're like, hey, I want to take a break, I want to chill out. Like you got some people who just don't shut up about work. It's like, oh geez, I'm not my job. So, but it's a good idea. It's from CG who has a solid passive income. I wouldn't know anyone with a solid passive income. I mean, most people are making money from jobs. It's kind of hard to have a passive income in the sense from CG. If you're not making art, there's no such thing as do you mean income that like you're not making money in your sleep? It's kind of hard with art. I think that stuff is probably more overrated too. probably more. You still always got to be making content and advertising and doing stuff. So the idea about candles. What idea about candles? I haven't seen all the Black Mirror. I barely watch any TV. I have intentionally not got Netflix. I know I'd get stuck watching Netflix and be glued to it. I just try and I don't know. Maybe I should spoil myself with Netflix. Spoil myself with Netflix and chill. Selling video stuff, and it's not really passive. It'll cap out at some point. A lot of my tutorials, other things, they don't sell constantly. You might get sales at the start, but then it just kind of tapers off. And a lot of people don't pay for crap, believe it or not. People don't pay for things as much as you think. Like, you're better off getting you just keep making work. Try and get a good client that will always want to get to hire you for something. That's a better thing than I do. I did this tutorials as more of a I guess it's more an experimentation. I'm not looking at doing tutorials too much more. I think I've almost capped out on the tutorial thing. I wouldn't even know what else to do. I could just keep doing them, but then I'd probably want to just shoot myself in the head if I keep doing tutorials. I guess the way I would want to do things would be more about not doing tutorials, but doing some sort of like art content that shows processes and tips and tricks, instead of like, hey, let me show you how to do a thing, right? Because I mean, there's so many ways I could do a thing, but then you're probably going to get bored anyway. So there's always a way to figure out a way to monetize something, and it's more about selling your art. You got new ways coming up with crypto art and things like that on Super Rare and other websites, which I've tried signing up to and getting into. I want to see if I could sell stuff on Super Rare. I think that's the future. I don't think tutorials are the future. That's like, it's just a side hustle, really. Make a little bit of money on the side, kit bashes, a little money on the side. I think maybe really high-end asset packs, kind of like Jama's doing. That's more that's where it's at, because eventually you got to like think of things constantly, try and what else can you do, right? Render packs, I think a render pack would be better. I prefer to do packs and things like that, not tutorials. Like asset things would be better. Stuff that people grab your stuff and use it and do cool stuff with it, and it inspires you to keep doing those things. So, do I pursue mastery? I think always you pursue mastery in art. Like there's a time and place to be like, I just want to chill out and do something. But your mastery is just refining yourself, practicing and doing stuff. Like, I would say I suck at drawing because I've never spent much time on it. So I think that's what I want to pursue next, is more drawing stuff. How do you know when you're done? So you don't continue changing it over and over again. You don't. You just got to give up and give into it. I mean, yeah, you could. There's a sense of accomplishment too when you do it. So you got to think to yourself, like, what do you want to accomplish? Do you want to just finish the damn thing? and just give in to. It's kind of like you could go and clean your house, right? You could clean it, but then you could really clean the house, right? Every nook and cranny, right? And some people were like, well, does that really matter? I couldn't see the dirt there. And so like, you have to question the same thing with your work. Can you really see the difference? And you have to be like, well, no, I can't. And I think that's when you stop. And then you also have deadlines, and then you're questioning it. You're like, well, how much percentage am I going to get from making this little part better? Does it really need to be understood that this part on the model, this little clip or something, needs to be really clear and needs to really be a clip? Say if I'm doing a concept and I want to deliver it to a client and go, well, this is a concept design, it's a character, and it's got like little clips on it. I could put a lot of time into the little clip, but then I could be like, well, maybe the artist who will take the work next will be smart enough to know that's a clip, and I'll leave some freedom for him too. So there's a lot of little factors coming into play. But if you say you need to do a clip for yourself, and then let's say you're just finishing it, and you're like, oh, that little clip detail, because this is obsessive, this stuff. This is what I'm talking about, a clip, it's like something like this little thing on this little, it's like you could put a lot of detail into it, or you just make a really basic thing, and then from a distance it still looks good enough. But you're looking at it, your brain is like, I'm working on this piece, I'm working in it maybe in ZBrush or with sub D, and you're like making all these little perfect edges, and then you think, well, then you zoom out and you got the whole bloody design, and you think, oh, what's the point, right? So it really depends what you're doing it for. If you're doing it to finish it yourself, then you zoom out and it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. So, but if you do a real close-up render, and it's like this beautiful render, kind of like Krill. You know Krill? He does stuff like that. Oberfett, that's different. You have to pay attention to stuff like that. Make a living. Yeah, it's always hard to make a living out of 3D art. It's a pain in the ass. You always have to like strive. But I think that's like most things. You always got to push yourself, and that's the issue. It's like you have to like push, but sometimes you don't like have to push as hard as you think. Just gotta be consistent. Consistency pays off, because let's say if you for example, like if you worked for yourself and you just got like, I don't know, you got like crappy pay, like let's say you live in the US and you got $300 a day or $400 a day, right? It's still better than waiting and going, well, then we wait for these big jobs. So and you get to work from home doing that too. So it's kind of like better than a shitty, crappy job, to be honest, because you get to work from home. So you like kind of figure out what do you want to do with it. Like, is it really struggling? Because you could be a generalist and do a bit of everything. And then on top of that, you could delegate work and hire other people to do the stuff you don't want to do, and you can leverage yourself a little bit better. And so it's always, I think it's hard to make a living at most things, except like the stuff that really pays, like, but it depends. Like most things, because what happens is it's like your expenses go up, so everything's kind of like the same in a weird way. But sometimes if you're really smart, you just don't spend more money. But that's the thing, you end up making more money, you spend more money. Weirdly, but it's always hard. I guess it's always hard to do. You always feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like whenever you feel comfortable, it's when you start failing. That's the problem. Being comfortable. Like it's always going to be hard. If it's like hard, it's like. But then you don't want it to be too hard, like too hard, because then you're just going to get annoyed at it. You need it to be hard and test you, and because that's conditioning. So yeah, it's never easy. I don't think anything's ever easy, because you get bored of it too. It's like you get that drip feed of dopamine, right? And that gets you high on doing something. So you think, well, I mean, you could take a bunch of drugs and sit and do work, and you think, wow. And it could be the worst work ever too. You could sit there and be doing your taxes, and you know, if you took some drug to make you happy, you'd be like, wow, these taxes are amazing. I love doing taxes. So it's all just relative, I guess. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Because what people find difficult might not be difficult for you. So I don't know. Yeah. What do you think are the main fundamentals to improve in hard surface modeling skills? Fundamentals would be pay attention to flow, of how things read. Don't over detail. Don't chuck stuff at things. Aim to do complicated, elegant shapes. Don't cheapen out and make square shapes, because that's easy. You're essentially making like all these square shapes because it's easy. You know, it's hard to make these nice, elegant shapes that have flow and detail that wraps around, and square details that wrap on the surface, and just space things out. Be like don't detail so much. People are ridiculous with detailing. Like, what are you trying to do? Just like relax. You don't have to put detail in every little thing. I think that's our problem lately. People just like detail the hell out of things, going crazy with detail. I mean, I couldn't care that you detail. Like, I could detail stuff. I mean, I've done it before, and it's just like, well, why did I do that? And it's just because I was a little bit obsessive, but you don't have to be. Just you could really just focus on shape and make things really beautiful, and add some detail. And just, that would be nice. But yeah, that was our advice. Focus on form. Really focus on form. Get a good language in there. In your design language. Keep it consistent too. Don't break your style. Every little, like, this area has a different style. This area has a different style. No, like, make sure this style, this area of we've detailed something relates to that one too. It you know, everything fits. Otherwise, you just like, it's too jarring, right? It's like, is this manufactured in a different factory versus this one, right? So, yeah, you want it to kind of look like it's all put together in one area, but not necessarily. It could be put together in other areas, but you want it to have a relatability to one another. What supplements for the brain? Oh, I've got into that lately. I bought a bunch of nootropics. I'll be trying them out. There's one called L-theanine, and then there's I ordered a bunch of stuff to try things out to see if I could hack my brain a bit, because man, it's warm. Because there's a lot of nootropics that are good. A lot of stuff, you've got things like literally other stuff that you could hack your brain with. but that's more like, what is it? Modafinil, which is for a sleep narcotic. Ritalin, which is pretty much a stimulant. All these are stimulants. But you've got natural ones, which is, I think, more viable. Because if you pump yourself up in a stimulant, you only got you probably only got a good year or two worth of work before your brain becomes exhausted from stimulants, and then you've got a long way to pick yourself up, because if you tap this out, you have to build it up again. So you're better off building it up with very mild stimulants, like natural, like almost, I don't know if they're herbal, but they're supplement stimulants. So I'd look up nootropics. Most of the nootropics that you got, paracetam, things like that, that's like, they're probably too stimulant based, and they're like caffeine, right? Caffeine messes you up long term too. I've been lowering my caffeine. So like, you know what the best thing for your brain is? A 10-minute nap. 10 to 15 minutes, up to 20 minutes is the best thing for your brain. Guarantee it. Take a 10-minute sleep. Just sleep for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Lie down, close your eyes. Boom. That's a stimulant right there. Guarantee it. If you did it, it will bring you up. And you'll feel like you had a little bit of coffee. So like, that's what I've been experimenting more and more with, because I've been lowering my coffee. So I'm like, damn, I'm tired. So then when I'm tired, listen to your body and just sleep. Like, take a 10-minute nap. Like, just, everyone's got 10 minutes. And don't feel guilty about it. Just shut up your brain and go, I'm going to like just sleep. And then you're like, oh my God. Like, because if you go past 20 minutes, you get groggy. Like 30 minutes is groggy and you're like, oh, gotta get up. And it's in the middle of the day, so you feel like crap. So you don't want to do 30 minutes. It makes you groggy. What else is there? There's so many ways that you can sell your work, but it's hard to figure out which. Yeah, there is. But I'm pretty optimistic about the crypto art. That's what I'm looking forward to, crypto art. Man, I saw someone, they sold $10,000 worth of crypto art, and it was, it was questionable. I don't like to pay out art, but it's to whomever wants to buy such a piece of artwork for $10,000 is free to do so. But it gives hope to independent artists like us who sit and make art, and if we can sell crypto art, oh, fantastic. People did a crypto art drop. Hey Dharma, how you been, man? I'm keeping safe. Still no corona, knock on wood. Hope you're keeping safe too, man. It's been a long time since we chatted. He made 3.5 million 2 days ago. Are you serious? Well, that hurts, doesn't it? You tell me all this stuff, Black, and it's like, damn, I just want to get on that website and start making stuff. We'll start to work freelance for a studio next month. What things would you keep an eye on with a contract? On a contract, I would make sure you pay attention to any like termination fees. Anything where like you're indebted to the contract and it's not fair. Any little fine print that doesn't sound right. You want to post that, Black? Post that up. I'm surprised someone paid $3.5 million for a Beeple artwork, but he must be on cloud 10 at the moment. Yeah, Black, well, that's alright. It's not like you bought it for $3.5 million. If you had $3.5 million to blow on a piece of artwork of Beeple, I'd be questioning your sanity. So I think everyone could make people art here. That's the sad facts, right? Not to pay people out, but people's just like he's just made a cool niche for himself, and that's how every artist should do it. And it goes to show you don't have to master any type of like amazing stuff. So I think the toll neck for Horizon took me a month to do. A little bit, a month. Yeah, around a month and a bit. I'm not doing any projects right now. Everything's pretty quiet at the moment. I'm not sure if I'd even want to do any projects just right now. I'm burnt out. Recently I watched one of the video interviews of Carl, what's his name? Kopiski?
Who is Carl? And is it cycling? You mean bicycle riding?
Ah, there were many artworks. I assume he just sold his stuff. Let's check out Super Rare. I've lost my pen lid. Alright.
Super Rare people. Alright. I can't find anything. Can I find anything for people?
There we go. Let's be ashamed of how much people will pay for this stuff. I don't know if this is actual people. Oh, Nifty Gateway. I think I'll put something on Nifty Gateway. So you guys, it's possible 2.5 Ethereum. So that is roughly list price is 50. Jesus Christ. You know, that's like, how much is 50 Ethereum? So 50 times 400 or 500 bucks, 600 bucks at the moment. Jesus Christ, people ask for a lot of money. Hey Carlos, you're asking for a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money for this stuff. And I think people will be like, are you insane? What about 8 Ethereum? Let's get the calculator out. All right. And how much does it sell for? Oh, here we go. So we got the translation here. So 1,200. Guys, $1,244 right here. You guys like that? Would you pay $1,244 for that? A lot of people will be like, what the fuck? Like, it'll be like that. I think most people are. And I think once the actual, because it seems like our market for what we are in, like the CG market, has not really caught up to doing to this stuff yet. Let me look at Nifty Gateway. Nifty Gateway. People got that wrong. No, I didn't end up talking to them after anything. Yeah, ClickStop. I'm not sure if I'll push that. What do you guys reckon? Should I push my other ArtStation account? I'm a little bit scared to do it. I think it might be just loony art. It's this weird art. Look at that. 66 current bid. Dynamic. You gotta question it. See, everyone, all you guys is putting all this hard work into that artwork, right? And Beeple probably does this in maybe like a week. Makes you question life, right? You're better off just like taking your clothes off for money. If you take your clothes off for money and making money from that, if you're I don't know, makes you wonder. Is it really like that amazing? This is what reminds me of like when I grew up and you had like the Command and Conquer animations. They're really cool and corny like that. Maybe that's his thing. I'm pretty sure I got something on here. I think I signed up with Nifty. I couldn't get into anything else. Just do it. You want me to push my weird art? That's why I do a lot of little sketches for my weird art and I draw with my left hand. People just want to collect people. But I think we all have it. Like, if people can do it, we can do it. Right? Yeah, that's true. You can increase your stamina. If you're ever stressed, go for a run or go for a jog. Well, not a jog, I mean a bike ride. See, I thought I had Nifty, but does Nifty? I think Nifty requires approval too. Find out, become a creator. Yeah, like I haven't been approved for any of them yet. But maybe I gotta do more weird art to be approved for it. But me doing my let me show you my other art station. Maybe I could make that into crypto art. I'm not really trying to hide it. I don't care. But it doesn't. So it doesn't fit in. My other art, the new art I'm doing, doesn't fit in with my hard surface art. So it just looks really jarring. Which it is jarring. It's a little weird. But that's the Watcher. Which is really weird. That's like, I can explain that like this is a guy inside of inside your body essentially, and he's a watcher, and it's kind of like it's the addiction to pornography, as if someone else is controlling you. It's like a little man inside of you. That's the thing, the Watcher. So it's a bit arty farty, but why not, right? And I just called it Flat Earth because I didn't know what else to call it. I thought it's such a craziness. This is kind of like a flower that has secretion coming out. And then these are like, you know, it's meant to be all kind of like this sexualized fantasy world, which Geiger kind of mixed in. So this is kind of there's like a butt, and that is a penis, and that's a tongue, that's a vagina, and there's like someone kind of walking into it. And that thing's like a tongue too. It's like mixing a lot of the anatomy for us and this kind of weirdness. It's weird. It's so weird. But yeah, I just wanted to pull it apart from my main stuff actually. I could show you the last one. Like, if people are, I think art is meant to be, you're meant to have some sort of expression in art. It shouldn't, like, if people are going to judge you for your art, I think we've got, like, bigger issues. I think, where is it? The latest one. I don't know if I even have the latest one. Hey Carl.
Is it okay?
Kai. K. I did more work on it. Let's have a look. Alright. It's really twisted. It's really weird. But, I don't know. I'm testing out different art styles. It could be completely Looney Tunes crazy. But, having fun with it. Tashiki. Ah. Long time no see. Tashiki. But yeah, I guess with art, it's a funny thing. It's like, what do you want to express? Like, you could do the same old thing everyone else is doing, right? Or you could do a bit of both, explore another avenue of art and expression. Because what are you going to do at the end of the day? You're just going to do the same old thing. I've been doing mechs and robots for years, so it's the act of insanity to do the same thing again and again. So why not explore something a little bit different? So I don't know. What's the point of trying if what's the point of not trying? You could fear the whole, like, people will judge me. Oh, what would they think about me making this art? Where, right? But, like, people judge Geiger, but then Geiger's gone down as a bloody boss, right? Like, think about it. He's one of the best surreal artists in the entire world. Because he just did what the hell he wanted to do. No judgment, nothing. He just went, stuff it. I'm going to do this surreal sexual art and not give a crap. And he defined a genre of movies and style and everything amazing. So the thing is in life, do what the hell you want to do, because someone will love it, and just say F you to everyone. Because if you're going to care about people's judgment towards you, then you don't grow as an artist. You confine yourself to a box. And you make stupid stuff all day long. So you need your little side thing to get you that little urge of what do you want to do, right? Do the other stuff, make money with it. But like, if you want to make crazy big ass chicks with like anime porn, do it. Who gives a shit? Do it. Just do it. Like, what's gonna happen, right? You're gonna get your little fix on the side, your little dopamine hit. You're gonna feel like if you don't ever do anything on the side, Jesus Christ, you're gonna be bored doing, like, do a character, do a robot. You like that robot? You like that character? Oh yeah, it's great, isn't it? You need to do something on the side, and do other stuff on the side too. Race cars or something. Do something crazy. You need to change up the other things in your life. You can't just live for like doing stuff in your studio. It's Looney Tunes. But I don't know. We'll see how that art works. I'm seeing. Generally, I'm just like, If I have an idea, I'll kind of do it, but I don't want to commit too much time to things doing like that. Thanks, man. Yeah, I know we're not hating. It's hard not to get jealous if someone's selling a piece of artwork for $66,000. That's more money than the top artists are making, that are actually really exceptionally masters of what they do. They've perfected their art to the 10th degree, detail, beauty and everything, and you see someone making a crap ton of money from unrefined art. it's an odd world we live in, because we can all know what's good and perfected, but I think we live in a very backwards world at the moment, so everything's a little bit like, down is up at the moment, so which you gotta maybe go down with stuff. Maybe don't do such amazing art. Do something easy. Do what people does. Find your niche, guys. Find your niche. We live in social media. Someone will love you for what you want if you express yourself, so try it out. Well, the funny thing is, like, when you don't fit into a studio, sometimes a studio will fit with you. Believe it or not. But you gotta push that. You just don't care what other people think. A thought's a thought from another person, that's all it is. Should never change you. The anxiety while working on a project exciting does. Well, I mean, most artists will want to make money from their art. Let's be honest. I think if you can find a niche where people want to pay you to do stuff, and you don't have a boss, that's kind of where you want to go. But working on projects, like, I would like to work on a very interesting project that interests me. I hate working on projects that would be like, oh, you're just doing it for the money. That's never a thing you really want to do, but sometimes you have to. I've never tried matte painting. Unless you're referring to like painting over stuff. Could be that. How long have I been on? Where's the timer for this? I think it might be getting late, guys. I might go to bed. I might try and do these every day. I'm not sure. See how I go with these things. But if you guys want more of these on environment, no, I haven't really done many environment stuff. No, I haven't done much of that. It's not really my area. It's kind of hard to do a bit of everything, but maybe I could try it. Blender's looking more promising, but I don't know if environment stuff's really my interest. It's kind of like, whatever your interest is, I wouldn't drag yourself into doing something you don't want to do too. The whole matte painting stuff, that's kind of like, unless you're referring to like the old way of, unless you're just talking about environmental design, like concept design for environments. I'm not sure if do you call it matte painting these days? I'm not sure if you call it matte painting. I thought matte painting is like in the sense of cinema. So we are drawing over actual movie stuff. Hopefully I can. I'm happy to help you out. I think I'll have like a... Seems like everyone's gone quiet with the mentoring and the classes and things like that. I think everyone's just taking time off. So hopefully it will be exciting next year to help more people out and do that. The mentoring stuff, it's really fun. I really enjoy it because like a lot of people improve dramatically. I'm like, wow, like it really does help. So doing the mentoring, I'm like blown away. Like Really blown away. Because it's my first time doing the whole mentorship stuff. I'm like, wow, it's like, you know, it's like people really improve by what you teach them. I guess when you have done it for years, you kind of don't see how you can help. It's just automatic to you. Hey, Vladimir. You sound Russian. Vladimir Putayakov. Is it Putayakov? Probably got that. Vladimir. Such a Russian name. That's all good. Glad you guys are enjoying it. See what time it is. Right. Ah, it's getting late. Thanks for saying. Oh yeah, you're gonna take the mentorship 101? Is everyone just gonna dump mentorship all of a sudden for next year? That's alright. I've been wanting to get more time with doing mentorships. Yeah, I didn't really plan on it. I haven't tried Cyberpunk yet. I'm not sure if I will even play Cyberpunk, to be honest. I do not have time to play games. Plus, I don't have time to get addicted to anything. Because I know that's just going to be a game you dive into, and it's like, oh, why even start? Like, I don't know, like, I always like first-person shooters, like the Quake, you know, get in, get out type of thing. I'm not going to be able to get out of Cyberpunk. It's going to suck me in. I know it will. I think if I just like... But I can't justify taking time off just to play Cyberpunk. I can't justify it. Like, I know I'm just going to get stuck. Like, I tried to finish The Witcher. Like, I got into like maybe 20 hours. And I'm like, I feel like I've played The Witcher, you know, I'm done. So... What do I do for fun? I really don't do enough fun lately. I want to start doing more fun stuff. Like, I socialize, get out of the house, but I've been pretty guilty of working too much. I really want to like get into racing cars if I could. Just be a little bit reckless. Get a car that I can thrash around. That's my thing that I want to aim for, is get like a drift car and just like thrash it, so I can get that monkey out of me of like taking risks, because we tend to like, we want to take risks in life, and we tend to push it into other areas of our life. So I want to like get a car where I can take it on a track and just like be risky and get that little fun thing out of me and just do something like that. I've always wanted to do drifting. Be expensive, that's the problem. But not too expensive if I just buy a real crappy car. So, but I think I should go. It's been great having all you guys. Didn't surprised so many people here. Until next time, guys. I'll say the same thing I always say. Take care, and I'll talk to everyone later. Thanks for all the kind support, and I'll continue to do what I do on YouTube. Yeah, feel free to leave comments and whatever else. I'll answer this last question. Curious, what is the thing you like working with concept in games, and what do you think it's exciting for the next gen gaming? I like doing just everything for concepting for games. If people ask me to do anything, I have a pretty wide palette, so I don't just do robots. I do characters. I do just anything that's crazy, really, anything different. I mean, yeah, I'll do anything really because it challenges you. Kind of, you don't want to just. I'm not the robot guy. I don't consider myself doing robots. I generally just. Like, I was a character artist doing organics, so I do a bit of everything whenever I can. And so you mix it all in there, and the next gen games, I think they're going to be fantastic. I think the next gen games are going to be pushing it towards the end of the cycle for doing everything. As always, we're probably just starting off, and you're going to get some pretty crazy games towards the end. But I'll catch everyone later. Hope everyone enjoyed it. No, I'm not working for Gorilla. But I'll catch everyone later. Hope everyone have a good night or good morning or good midday or whatever time it is, wherever you are. And I'll catch everyone later, guys. See you later, guys.